転んでも転んでもブルーライト横浜
はい、じゃあシーン1です。
ありがとうございます。転んでも転んでもはゲストの失敗や挫折経験、逆境、心のひび割れ、そしてそこから生まれる再生や学びを語っていただくポッドキャストです。普段人には言えないような苦しみや障壁について話すこと、それは恥ずかしいことではなく、むしろ人や人生を面白く、優しく、そして少しだけ自由にするものだと思っています。この番組では転んだ話を本音で、そして軽やかに話すことで、何かと戦っている皆さんの励みになりたいと思っています。はい、本日のゲストはルナさんです。
はじめまして、皆さん久しぶり
久しぶりだ
嬉しい。
ちょっと紹介させてもらうね、
はい。
ルナさんは東京在住のモデル、そしてアンドロメダというステージネームのドラッグパフォーマーでもあり、またポッドキャストもっと元違和感のホスト、あと編集者でもあります。You sound like very multi-talented.
Too much, man. すごいカオスだ自分の。
でもアクティングもするんだよね。
ね、したい。そう、最近ちょっと始まってる、いろんな。
ね、すごい楽しみ。なんかどういう風ないろんな方向でこれからルナがドライブしていくか。Yeah, so again, thank you for coming here today.
No.
And first of all, I've been obsessed with your hair. Do you get this comment a lot, right?
Yes, people
Yeah.
talk about my hair a lot.
It's so gorgeous. Like, what do you use?
Honestly, nothing.
本当？
なんか薬局で買えるやつ just like the drugstore.
もともといいのかなじゃ
もともといいと思うけど、まあ、I use like the YOLU.
あ。
YOLU
夜、はいはいはい
が
はい。
いいとか、
へー
最近美容室行ってオーラプレックスをおすすめされて、
そうだよね、ボンディングね。
そうそう
私も
とか
じゃあ夜買って帰ろうかなと
オーラプレックス
思います。
はいいかもね。
ね。I've been also in love with your content. Absolutely, like have sense of pride. Like I'm so proud of you and your journey and everything. And yeah, really grateful that you shared everything. And I want to ask a lot about that today. But just to start with, I'd love you to share what kind of kid you were, where it all started.
I was the troublemaker kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest of two, so I'm
Okay.
the baby in the family, and my family always says that like I was running away always.
Running away from like people, like family members.
Yeah. You know, like if you like everyone's in like a restaurant,
Yeah.
and then they're like, "Wait, where's like my nickname as a little kid was Bonnie?"
Yeah.
So I was like, "Where's
Aw,
Bonnie?" And they're
cute.
like already like at a different table, or like
Wow.
at the airport. I was like trying to go away and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I was like very just like active and wanting.
And you were born in Mexico.
Yeah, I was born in
right?
Mexico, moved to Canada when I was 2 years old.
Was
and then-
that obviously parents' decision, right?
Yeah, no, it was mine.
Possibly. But was that for like better future or education? What was the thinking behind that?
Yeah, I think it was Mexico in the 90s was, especially Mexico City, was getting kind of dangerous.
Okay.
So my parents decided to go to Canada. We had an uncle who already lived there. And so my dad went into a master's program in
Okay.
Montreal. And then we followed, and yeah, I grew up there since then. So really I have almost no memories of the time I lived in Mexico, but I would go back every winter and every summer, every year.
Oh, okay.
So I spent all Natsuyasumi and all Fuyuyasumi in Mexico.
Amazing. But
So-
do you identify yourself as like Canadian as well, or like it's
Yeah,
sort
this
of
is my
difficult
mom's
area?
always like, she always tells me you're not Mexican.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, you don't know what it's
Interesting.
like to be Mexican because you didn't grow up there. She's like, you're Canadian.
Does that represent her wanting you to be more Mexican?
No, I think that represents her wanting me to, like, they went through very hardships to make me Canadian.
Yeah. Okay.
But in the sense, like I said, we would go back every year. So even though I was in Canada all the time for school, like when everyone became friends with everyone, like when you had like parties
Yeah.
and like summer break and everything, I was never there because I was always like going back to like our jika.
I see. Yeah.
So like even though I was in Canada for 20 years and I only know that culture as like a youth, like I was always in the sense of being like a guest here.
Yeah.
And then so I feel very Mexican. But when I go to Mexico, yeah, I don't know all the cultural stuff that, other friends who
Till
are
today.
there. Yeah. Like, I'm not watching Mexican TV every day or
That's
Mexican
true, yeah.
TikTok. A little bit.
Mexican
Yeah.
I love to watch that. And was that your brother or sister? You had a sibling, right?
Yeah, an
Had
older
a
brother,
sibling.
yeah.
is it same for him as well? Like doesn't identify himself as like a Mexican, but more like mixed.
I think he's more on the Canadian side.
Right.
Yeah. He's very like embraced it. I think for me, I was always really interested in like my roots and kind of understanding them. Like I remember when I was like 18, I started trying to build like a family tree and everything.
Oh my
like
God.
trace it back to like how far
How
we
far
could
did you go?
I think we got to like my great like quite far back, maybe like 200 years ago or something. But yeah, it was like I think I always wanted to find a sense of belonging somewhere,
Yeah, okay.
which is how it manifests into family tree or like wanting to identify myself as Mexican and
Yeah.
learn about like traditional culture and stuff. Or even in Japan, like I'm here in Japan, but I'm trying not to be here in Japan as like a expat vibe, you know, like
Yeah.
learn the dento bunka toka and really like, you know, I speak Japanese and everything. It's like I grew up as like a floating person, so I have this
And you are
kind of
also a very great like community builder.
thank
Like
you. Yeah.
how we like when we met, it was I think 2019 or 20, but you were already like this center of community,
Oh.
like founder and builder, and that explains a lot. As like you said, you were craving this sense of belongings, and that explains a lot.
Yeah, I think community was something I never had growing up necessarily.
Okay.
Like, for example, my parents were never very communal people. Like we had
That's
like
interesting.
very few family friends,
Okay.
but they always stayed out of like, for example, the Mexican immigrant community in Montreal. Like there is one, but they're
Yeah.
always like, no, we're not part of that. Like they're very insular. So I always grew up like just isolated. Like it's just me and my family, and then like even our friends, like you know, my parents would always tell me like, yo, your friends will be there, but they'll like ditch you at the last minute. It's like when you're actually in trouble, your friends are not going to come for you.
Wow.
And so I was always felt like very isolated. So I think in Tokyo, when you don't have a community, like you're an outsider already to start with, like
Yeah.
creating a community was very important to me.
I kind of resonate with that part of upbringing so much because like my parents are Chinese as well, and like I was only child, so I kind of like acted as a translator, like for my parents to connect to the society. Your parents also sounded like it had some sense of protection for you.
Yeah.
Were they integrated into society, would you say?
I don't think so. I think it was very much like we are here for our children to go to this, like since I was little, they told me like we are in this country so that you can go to that university.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I resonate with that so much. I had like a typical Chinese tiger mom.
my parents were not, I think they were not as intense as what Chinese tiger moms are, because I have seen some intense levels of tiger mom. But it was very much like the Mexican version of that. Like, it's
Right.
like you are here to study, you are not here to like do blah, 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 blah. And so it wasn't, we had neighbors and it'd be like, hi and stuff. But we were very like, just like, it's blood. Blood is everything kind of thing. Yeah.
It kind of makes sense that you became adventurous and like, you know, wanting to explore more other part of the world. What was their reaction when you decided to come to Japan?
I think they were initially like, shit, how are we going to pay for that? But overall, I think they were really excited about it. I just kind of like decided it. I mean, it's very, very like naive or like, but I was like, oh, I'm going to exchange. And I just applied without even asking them. And then I was like, oh, I'm accepted. And they're like, now we have to pay for like you going on exchange.
But that's the beauty of youth though. Like you are naively bold and you kind of sometimes need that.
Yeah, you're like, oh, but what is that going to mean and everything?
Yeah.
So, but I think they were very happy. They were very supportive of it, like since the beginning, and kind of really, I guess it was like they knew it had been my dream for a long time to like live outside of Montreal and go to Tokyo. But I don't think they expected it to become something
This long-term
yeah,
commitment?
Exactly.
It's your year 10.
Yeah, 2015 I came, so
Wow.
exactly 10 years. I went back for 1 year just to finish my university.
Yeah.
But I wasn't supposed to be in Japan after that. So actually, after I came back from Tokyo exchange, I applied for fashion school in Europe.
Here in Europe,
In Europe, yeah. And I got accepted to a school in Paris, and I paid my tuition to go, and I was like set to go.
Wow.
And then I think it was like the school started in September, and in August, I was like, no, I need to go back to Japan. Something is like...
Strong intuition.
Yeah. I think what it was that I knew from that 1 year and like what I had studied that Japan is a very hard society to understand because it's very unique, right?
Yeah.
And Japanese people are very, again, like closed off to strangers, blah, 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 and everything.
True.
So I thought if I come to Japan after having then gone to Europe and everything, I will have forgotten the Japanese that I kind of like am now really good at.
Yeah.
Lost the community that I built in that 1 year, the friends, the connections, blah, blah. And also not really understand the culture deeper. So I'll be like an outsider again. Like, I don't know, you know, like where you're like, oh, Nihongo, like Nihongo wa chotto nazo da ne. Like, it's like such a weird society. Like, and I didn't want to be that. So I thought, come to Japan while I'm in my early 20s, like really understand the culture, like be like
integrated.
Yeah. And then once I'm like ready for the next stage, I can always go to Paris or Europe because at the end of the day, like for example, Montreal is a French city, so I speak French. We are very influenced by French culture, so I understand more or less the French culture, so I could go anywhere. Like it's like I feel like it's easier to go other places after than that. So I canceled everything and just came to Tokyo.
Wow. So council doesn't like what happened to that tuition that you already paid?
They only refunded us a little bit. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
My dad was like, I can't believe you did that.
This might be a weird question, but I assume that you are more like aligned with yourself today than, you know, let's say 10 years ago. I hope you feel like more like in yourself. But do you think the fact that you are in this third country that is not attached to how you brought up, do you think that helped?
Definitely. Because I think even the thing that I really loved about coming to Japan originally was that I didn't know anyone. And it's like, well, I could just make myself up again. And like, you know, I was born in Mexico, but at the end of the day, I was like a random kid from the suburbs of Montreal, you know, who has no like reason to be in the fashion industry or in these sort of like big, not big named circles, right? And then in Tokyo, it was like, well, I have a clean slate and, you know, I can just like become whoever I want.
Yeah.
And also I didn't have like my friends who were like, oh, what are you wearing and stuff. Like it felt like I could just do whatever I wanted. So that was really useful. And I think the distance from my family was also really useful because I could then control how much they knew of me.
Okay.
And
makes sense.
All that stuff. So like even my transition, I think it was really easy because I didn't have, my mom is very supportive of it. So I didn't have, but still like not having her there to have to like explain so much and like have someone just always be like, oh, but what if it's like, you know what, I can just do it and then I'll send you a text and it's done.
You mentioned that your mom is very supportive. What about your dad and brother?
I haven't told my dad.
No?
So my parents are divorced and I don't really have a very close relationship with my dad at all. He does message me. He's like, how are you? And I'll just be like, good. You know, like... So I don't know. I haven't seen... Last time I saw him was 5 years ago.
Okay.
And I just wonder if like next time I'll see him, he'll be like,
But do you feel necessity of like explaining?
No, like he really has a non-important role in my life. Whereas my mom is really someone who's so important. And she struggled so much with
she did.
Everything. Like when I was 15, like like they found out I was gay, not by my choice. And that was really like difficult because my mom was Protestant. So it was very like, you know, not correct and stuff. And then
how did you navigate that back then when you were 15? Because that's like such a sensitive...
I mean, I think it was also early, like we had less representation, so my mom had way less information to go on. But I think like so that happened, and then basically my parents forced me to be straight this way for like a few years, and I kind of accepted it, and then it was like really difficult, so I just kind of like, I can't do this anymore. Came out, and she was kind of like, I came out to her more or less, but I could tell she didn't really accept it. And then I went on exchange.
Okay.
So it was like, you know, I don't really care. And then when I had come back from this year in Tokyo, I had really like experienced what it was like to be like 100% myself, fully open, like fully just like not taking bullshit from anyone. I think was when it was kind of just like, yeah, this is me. Yeah. And I think my mom having the distance, she realized like, oh, my kid can choose not to have a relationship with me.
Yeah.
And so if
That
I
was
don't,
threatening, must be.
well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't threatening on purpose, but it's like, for example, like I think most, like I will text my mom every day,
Yeah. Okay.
but I'm really busy.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if I don't want to make an effort to be with my mom, then she knows that it would be every month. But she wants to have a like close relationship with me.
all
So
the
it's
time.
like, I think for her, it was like, well, what's more important to me? My relationship with my child and having like a good bond, or
Yeah.
some like random like norms that's like were decided by society, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think she, through her divorce, kind of understood what like society, like all, like I don't know,
The
she went through a
pressure,
big
and she grew
transformation.
this empathy as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think she told me once that she was like, you know, I would see movies about like tragic like romance and like you know, people suffering through things, and like I would never, like I would say like, oh, that is very difficult, but I never really understood it because she had a very protected and very like on paper perfect upbringing.
Yeah.
And then she got like the perfect marriage and everything, so she was like, my life has been perfect up to now. And then like for her divorce kind of shattered everything.
Yeah.
And she went through a really difficult time because of it. And so I think she learned like, you know, there are things you can't control. There's so much like, so, like I don't know, like she really learned empathy through it. And I think that's what allowed us to get really close.
Wow.
And then the transition part was another difficult thing,
Yeah.
I think, for her. And I think she's still dealing with it, but I can tell like for her, she's like trying her best. You know, like she sent me for my birthday like a moon stuffed animal.
Oh, cute.
And she's like, if it's right to like commemorate your new name and everything and
Yeah.
stuff. So I was like,
Oh.
thank you. But yeah, it's like dealing with family is very hard. Yeah. And my brother, we saw each other, but we kind of like don't talk about it.
Right.
We all are also not very close. I'm only close to my mom, really. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just mentioned that like she had her struggle, like just witnessing your journey as well. But what has been the most difficult thing for you on this transition?
Like now looking back at it, I feel like, wow, I should have done this way earlier. Because it's like, it was always there.
Yeah.
And I like, when I told my mom, for example, that I wanted to like start like transitioning and stuff, she was like very upset, like she was crying and stuff, but like not in a way that it was like, oh no, but it was just kind of like overwhelmed at like all of the things and what it would mean and everything. But she was telling me like, when you were like 2 years old running around in the airport, no, yeah, my grandfather was like taking care of me.
Yeah.
And because she was like checking us in at the like counter
Yeah.
and stuff. And when she got back to my grandfather apparently told my mom like, you know, Bonnie keeps asking like, I know, when can he be a girl? And she's like, you've literally been asking for this since you were like 2 years old.
Okay.
So I can't really, she was saying like, I can't blame this on like you having seen like some transgender on TV. It's like, I know this is who you've been since you were little. But I think the hardest part has been, I think I'm a bit of a people pleaser. And so I could feel like the expectations were of me to be a different, like, I don't know, like I gave up who that person was to what society expected me to be.
Yeah.
And now kind of taking that back has been easy, but getting to that point was very hard.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, I'm going to just do it. Like, I don't care anymore.
Right.
You know? Because I think maybe late 20s, 30s, everything felt so overwhelming.
Yeah.
That you feel like you don't have any power over like the way your life is
Control.
going. Yeah. And so like the rhythm of my work schedule, what I've like about aging and how your body's changing. And I think I went through like a late puberty in a way, because like up to my like early, I would say like 22, 23, for example, I had like no facial hair or very little, yeah. And then like once I got into like 25, so like really COVID and stuff, like my beard started getting really thick and everything, and like I started feeling like my body was changing to something I didn't like. I started gaining weight. I was in this new like job system, and I just felt like
Right. Everything was happening all at once.
Yeah.
And you were just like the best you can do is coping.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like COVID, so you can't go anywhere. I just felt like, oh, I have no control over anything. And that included like my gender.
Yeah.
And I just kind of was like, I don't know. When people transition, a lot of it is about how much you can like change yourself.
Yeah.
And I really think like ultimately we are more than our body and our presentation and everything. So there's definitely parts of me that I'm just like, I enjoy what they are, and I'm happy to keep them. And then the other parts, you just adjust. But like I think the core self always exists.
Yeah, and you just mentioned that like you kind of have a people pleaser trait, and I definitely do want you to protect your energy, but at the same time, like that doesn't mean that you kill your soft, feminine, kind, empathetic self.
I think there's a difference between being like a bulldozer over everyone and just being like, it's me and I don't care about you, versus like, as you say, like assuring who you are. And I think if you are very confident in who you are, you don't do that sort of stuff. You are actually the person who's that. So I've always been confident in who I am and my personality.
Yeah.
Like I've never been someone who thought that I was like uncharismatic or unlikable. It depends sometimes.
You do have that kind of like confidence.
Yeah, like I think I like the part that's like I used to be very insecure as a man.
Yeah.
That I wasn't cool enough. I don't know if, and maybe in Japan is not the necessary best reference, but for example, if we're in America or in Europe, like if you're trying to work in like consulting or like a sort of, business setting, like the man who succeeds is tall, muscular, aggressive, and very like, hi, nice to meet you kind of thing. And I've never been that person.
Yeah.
And so I always felt like, I won't be taken seriously because I used to say I'm too cute of a boy to be taken seriously.
Okay.
And then, which is like lovely for like person to person interactions, but when you're in like a professional setting, like you really want to have like this like oppressive aura of yourself to people like to just like respect me. And so I think my thing was like, I wonder if like I've ever really been like respected in that way and stuff. And I think I realized that, that sort of respect is not necessarily what I even want,
Yeah.
Like I think what people are attracted to is a more empathetic and kind and like someone who is like cares about things.
Yeah.
So
like fake it till you make it spirit would kill your authenticity.
Yeah, exactly.
And as we just discussed, like I think your superpower is that empathetic, female power.
Yeah, and I think definitely now as that I've transitioned, I've learned to be more secure with my like what I am good at. I don't know, I think as you mentioned, everything was already there, but I always struggled to take ownership of it. Like to recognize that this was who I was. And then I don't know why, but once you like repackage it as trans, it just works for me, and like even I started TikTok recently, like because I just all of a sudden felt comfortable again being just myself.
Yeah.
And I'd always just been myself. Like what I do on TikTok is I just talk to the camera mostly. Like I don't really vlog. I don't really do anything that's like necessarily like this is my life in Tokyo or whatever. Like because first of all, I'm terrible at vlogging. Like I forget about like I get to lunch and then after lunch I just forget about it. And then it's like, well, I have half a day.
To your point earlier, it's a choice and decision to be aligned with yourself. And for a lot of people, it's such a terrifying act. And you've done that.
Yeah, I think the scariest part was that it was my choice.
Yeah.
It was really easy to be depressed in other people's choices. Because I didn't have the responsibility of having chosen them.
Yeah.
So I was hating my body because I was a man, but I didn't get to choose that. It sucks. Whatever. All of these things, it was really like easy to just like give the responsibility and blame onto everyone else.
Yeah.
And then when I was thinking like, shit, am I going to do this? Like, for all of it, it was way more scary because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Not my mom or not whatever, or not my teachers or whatever. It was like, this is my decision. And it's way scarier than, I think like people think too far ahead of what could happen or what if this or what if that. And
because we want to design our life in a perfect way
to
exactly. Be shown like this.
You don't know what's going to happen,
exactly.
Like you're planning of what might happen or like how you want to proceed in your life in the next 5 years, but in 1 year maybe you find a random pig on the highway and you become a farmer. Like, who knows, like,
Yeah.
it's so like arbitrary. And so I think what I always do is I always try to just think of my one step, or maybe two or three, but like really immediately there. And even I have a lot of trans friends who talk to me and they say like, oh, I want to transition, but I'm really scared of how to do it and everything. And I always say like, take one step that's the closest to you, and then like look back and be like, am I happier now than I was one step back? And if the answer is yes, then take another one. Like, you don't have to worry about like having to go all the way. Like maybe just like 2 steps is what you want to do, and that's like for everything, right? So once you get the courage to like start walking
The realistic
a little bit,
small baby step.
it becomes way easier, I think. And that's kind of been like my routine, just
amazing.
like, oh, where do I start? I don't know. I felt like starting the business career, not business, but like a professional career.
Right.
The thing that shocked me so much was like people kept asking me like, when you have your like hyoka mendan and stuff, like, well, where do you want to, like, what career do you want to build for yourself? And based on that, we'll evaluate your progress and everything and stuff. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I was just here because it was fun,
But that again is like, skill of you to be present, because like we don't have to take life too seriously. Like, we can choose excitement, we can choose joy, we can choose happiness, and we sometimes forget that, especially living in this like city like Tokyo, New
It
York.
is nonstop.
Nonstop. Do you think your experience and those like all POV that you just shared influenced your creative process? Because you do a lot of different creative activities.
I think it's definitely, and I'm still working on that actually, because I think the last step for me is to let go of the expectations I have on my creative process.
Okay.
And TikTok has definitely shown me one aspect of that, but also just like the fact that, again, I don't know if this is connected to the time that we grew up in, but when we were growing up, so much of the value was in the final product, of not showing anything until it was like perfect.
Not
and then,
the process, but the outcome.
Exactly. And like even like, Beyonce dropped Beyonce album all of a sudden, right? And you're just like, that's the impact. Like, it's like, bam, like it's perfect.
And then we get criticized as like, you have same 24 hours as Beyonce does.
Exactly. And so it kind of put a lot of pressure of only putting things out that were perfect, or that were perfect to me at the time. And so it stopped me from being like more loose with my creativity. And so what I liked about TikTok versus, for example, Instagram was how casual it is and how imperfect it can be. And actually that is what attracts people
done is
often.
better than perfect format.
Exactly. And so I've been working so much in different fields, but I think I could do more if I just let myself create something that is not finished, but it's what it is, and then try it again next time, and kind of more like a routine of retrying rather than worried about only being seen perfectly. Like, not to tie it back to transness at all, but the reason why I really enjoyed drag,
I was gonna ask, that was my next question,
was because I could show you only the perfect version of myself. Like, even though, for example, I had wanted to transition earlier or whatever, I was really afraid of the in-between.
Okay.
Because people always make it kind of like a monstrous stage, for whatever, like even before and after pictures of like weight loss you have before and you have like the really perfect. It's like you jump just there, and everything in between is like terrible. And like you have this idea of like transvestites or like cross-dresser and like everything, which is honestly, I'm not judging anything, but it was always presented to me as something very scary.
Okay.
Like in movies, they're the villain, or they're
it's very
someone who
like
gets
black
bullied.
and white.
Exactly. So I was really afraid of that in-between stage. And then, but in drag, I could spend like 4 hours in my bedroom perfecting, getting the makeup perfect, the costume perfect, the wig is perfect, and only then will I step out, So that...
Interesting. I never saw it that way.
Yeah.
It's true.
It kind of gave me this sort of like filter of never showing the like uncomfortableness
Yeah.
of what it feels like to come into your body.
But also the room of like trying
Yeah.
something different.
It's scary to try.
Yeah, yeah.
And so once I kind of thought like, well, I'm gonna try and, I don't know, like let go of that. I realized that like Andromeda, who I love, because she's like been a filter for it,
Yeah.
was really like a mask to block changes in between. And then now with myself, with my art, with my writing, like everything, all the work that I'm doing, I'm just kind of learning to let it be imperfect. Because ultimately, no, nothing is perfect. I don't know, it's a bit of a cheesy ending to it, but
No, but it's a beautiful
yeah.
message. And I wonder, let's say, if you can time travel today.
Oh my God.
And you get to see 25-year-old you, what would you say? After like equipped those creative, skills, but
Yeah.
also perspectives and everything.
I would say just be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't benefit you to lie to yourself, I think, because at the moment, like, I think so many of the things we tell ourselves we want are because we are afraid of not pleasing some other person.
Yeah.
And then you convince yourself that that's what you want. Like my mom once asked me, because I went back to Mexico and there was this trans TV series.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And it was so amazing. So I told my mom, like, we have to watch it.
Yeah.
And so I watched it with her, and it's about this trans woman, blah, blah, blah. And she asked me at the end, I was like, but do you want to transition? And I was so afraid of her reaction that I said, no, like, of course not. And it's like, that's such a lie. Because I knew, like, I didn't know, but it's like, I know I was interested in it. And it's like so much of the detours that I took, which thankfully led me to where I am now. Hopefully it's a good place. We don't know. We'll never know. But are because I just kept being afraid of people rejecting me.
Yeah.
Like I would avoid dressing very feminine even as a guy, because in Tokyo, like anywhere, gay culture, people are attracted to very masculine men. And so I thought if I dress feminine, it's going to mean that people are not going to like me. And so I'm not going to find a boyfriend, blah, blah, all this stuff. And yeah, I would just be like, honestly, don't lie to yourself.
When we really think about relationship, like really old relationship, I think the best thing that you can do to the other person, like the starting point always is to understand yourself better. That's the work. That's the most of the work, right? So that other people knows what are you, how to see you. But I think with the social norm and everything, like today, the world's so chaotic that it takes more time for us to decide because there are more choices, or like you get really distracted by the categorized choices as well. And it's all, again, going back to the process versus outcome. It's all process, and it was all necessary.
There is no outcome. The outcome is you die. But like that's the only moment you can kind of think maybe that's an outcome.
That's so true, though. Yeah.
But everything is a process, Definitely. I think my friends have all found me way more enjoyable to be with after transitioning.
Wow. Okay.
Because I think I know who I am.
Yeah.
And so they know who I am. Yeah. And they know how to like talk to me and what, like, I don't know, not talk to me as in I was like some monster,
totally get
but
that. Yeah.
Like it's like it benefits no one in the long run, right?
Yeah.
To be a sort of like mirror of what their expectations
exactly,
are.
Yeah.
Did you have a lot of experience doing that?
Mirroring?
Yeah.
I still remember I used to teach Japanese, like grammar and the stuff, those structured Japanese to my mom as well. I also have like memories like weirdly going to a bank with my mom and trying to open a mortgage bank account, and like I'm like 8-year-old.
You're like so you were her kind of like translator and everything.
Yeah, and she never really had friends. She never, like, you're amazing in understanding Japanese culture, but also like language, those hard skill as well. I would phrase this as like she didn't really put enough effort to be really fair, because she was afraid. And what you get out of that is just this connection. She was really isolating herself.
Yeah.
As a kid.
Then you have to be there, because otherwise your mom is all alone.
I think you can relate, because like clearly the reason that you would react like, no, I'm not like gay, no, I'm not trans, like that kind of immediate reaction. It's not like response, but more like reaction, right?
Yeah,
Is to
yeah.
protect, you try to protect
them,
your
their
mom, yeah.
ideas of what they want, and like you're also their only,
child.
like,
Yeah.
not only child. Well, you're only child, but also
No, but
one
you
of
are-
two. But just a lot.
Yeah, but you are most close with
Yeah,
your mom,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
it's really hard. I think.
Yeah, it's really hard.
I
I
think-
think, yeah,
Go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
It's only like after you becoming adult, you started seeing that your parents are not really like this perfect
Oh yeah.
guardians, but only human with generational trauma,
Yeah.
which we just
You're like,
only
wow,
can-
you are messed up. Like not messed up, but like it's like you have your shit,
yeah,
and
100%.
we are on the same playing
Yeah,
field
both.
to some extent. They have 30 or 40 years more of
Yeah.
experience than we do, so it's
For
not the same.
sure.
But
Going back to the community conversation, you've built community, but you also found community here. How do you describe it? Like, what's your experience in Japanese trans community? Or
I'm still building that trans community for myself. Like before I transitioned, I was really like had a lot of questions and I didn't know how to do it. Like, you know, what clinic is everyone going to? Or like what, like, you know, all these things that like no one teaches you.
yeah,
And I've never had, like, I've had community, but I've always been the outlier in the community.
okay,
You know, like for example, even if my artsy like queer friends in Tokyo, I'll be the only drag queen. And I won't, and I didn't have any drag queen friends who would teach me like other stuff. So it's like I've been learning everything on my own.
yeah,
And the same has been kind of with like the queer experience. Like even when we were doing Iwakan, like there were some trans people, but I never got close to them to be like kind of like share anything too much. And so that's why I started my own podcast this year in April.
yeah,
2025, which was like, called Tokyo Trans Story, and it was about kind of me meeting with trans people to create a community for myself, but also kind of learn everything I
yeah,
didn't learn. And I think only recently I'm starting to like have friends who I
Yeah.
can like sodan and like talk to and be like, girl, what are you doing for that? Or like, is this okay? And it's really been taking me to kind of involve myself in the events.
yeah. If you want to build a network or community, be the one to host, right?
Exactly.
That's the quickest.
And go and, you know, kind of take. So I definitely feel way less alone now. Tokyo's very hard, I think. Even when you build communities, people will leave and come back. You know, especially if you're a young professional, you're like opportunities come in unexpected places.
Yeah,
So it's hard because you feel like you've built something and then someone leaves and you're like, ah. But I think it can be done if you try.
yeah,
Yeah. Or if you try, I don't know, that might be a bit condescending to people who are struggling to build community, but I think there are pockets and putting yourself out there is definitely one way to do that, you know? Yeah. But I think Tokyo is very hard to build community.
No,
'cause
I
we live
resonate with
near-
that. Any big cities like New York, London, yeah.
I would advise live in a neighborhood where people you like live in.
I agree. Proximity matters
So
like,
much.
So much. Your quality of life is depending on that. Well, I still wouldn't stop dreaming. Maybe like some rich friend can like,
Buy a house.
you know, buy a house or something, and we build a commune in the
Yeah.
60s.
No, I think it's so different. Like I was living in like Futakotamagawa up until last year.
Right.
And that is so far. Like it was a really lovely area and really like amazing apartment.
Yeah.
But I just felt so isolated. And then moved to Nakano area.
Okay.
And first Nakano and Koenji are itself like super queer. Like there's so many like LGBTQ people. All like everyone basically lives there. At least in my circle.
Yeah.
And it's super close to Shinjuku, which is also like my other community and everything. And so all of a sudden I felt connected to people. And it's people like, what I find so interesting is that it is really inconvenient for me to get to my office.
Okay.
And a lot of people will tell me like, oh, it's such a good area, but it's like kind of far from work or whatever. And I'm like, you do not exist in your job. Like you need to be like going to work should be the sacrifice, but you should not sacrifice your
private
community.
boundary.
Exactly. And so even if I have to take like an hour and 10 minutes to get to the office versus like half an hour, I live in an area that I feel supported. If I have a lunch break, I have an hour and I can go to like, I don't know, not that I do that very often, but like grab coffee with a friend or go grab something that I need. Like it feels more like I'm in a place than before where I was like in the white box, isolated from the world, you know? And so I would say like, yeah, if you're queer, Nakanoku, Shinjuku area, like these are amazing for you because then you meet people and you become like a part of this community, village or whatever. So
yeah, and you have more options to like how to show up for your friends. Like physicality matters. Like if one's like really down out of like having bad cold or like you know experiencing grief,
I'll be there. Like
I'll be
give me
there
half an
physically.
hour.
Like I'm not gonna tell me what I can do. Like I just can go with like a little bento and just like you know knock the door, and there's so much difference.
And I think we have such a hard schedule, especially in a big city, Tokyo, New York, wherever, that it's really easy to be like, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Like for me in Futaku Tamagawa, it was like a 15-minute walk to the station. And then from there, like 45 minutes. So it was like basically an hour to get anywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to go to this like queer event, or I want to go to this like ballroom event or this drag show or whatever, but I'm just so tired. Yeah. And then you think about like, and I have to come back home and it's gonna be like, I'll just stay. Yeah. And I think maybe I'm lazy in that way.
No,
like,
never lazy. Like you do, like if you're lazy, what other people are? Like,
I don't know. People always say that, but I think like I know people who live in like Saitama who are always there, who are always in the community and stuff. I'm like, you guys really like, you go. And it's like, again, like as I was saying, like, don't lie to yourself. Realize I am lazy. And so if I want to participate in these events, I need to be closer.
You were just protecting your energy.
Exactly.
You are not lazy.
I was protecting my energy. But realizing like, okay, if I want to be part of the community, I need to live somewhere that's closer to it because I'm not the kind of person who can muster up the energy, you know? Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm going to go. And then I get tired and I don't. And I hate myself for not going. And so I realized like, you know, I'm not that kind of person. I am this kind of person. And therefore, for it to work for me, I need to do this. Yeah. And then once you do that, you can become involved. And I think it was really, really helpful for me.
You're a very courageous person. I was just like listening to you just like talking. I was imagining like what was the first time for you to like experience drag show or like even, you know, be on the performer side? Because as you said, there was no, like in your community, there was nobody doing that. So like how did it, like it's all courageous. That is courageous, deciding like making choices are courageous.
I think, yeah, I've always been a very brave person.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Because I realized that if I didn't do that, nothing would happen. Like I said, I grew up, my background in a very strict religious suburban family. Like if I didn't try, I would still be there. For drag, I think, what was my first drag show? I'm not I think it might have been a RuPaul's Drag Race tour that the queens came to Montreal
So
just to
when was
watch.
It?
I think that might have been like 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think I had seen maybe some local stuff in Montreal. And then the first time I performed in drag was 2019. My friend was launching like a collaboration with a brand. Yeah. And she knew I was doing like bedroom drag, you know, and she's like, do you want to perform? And I was like, yes.
But you do it such a like elegant way with kimono and everything, and it's very unique.
I love the kimono vibe.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I used to do it. I haven't done it recently because I've just been so busy. And honestly, the transition inside makes it really easy to saboru costume because you just wear a skimpy bikini and people think it's sexy. But it definitely depends on where you're performing.
But I love that version.
I'm enjoying that
Your
version.
Your like 90s style is like giving me vibes.
Thank you.
I love that.
But yeah, being on stage for the first time, I did a Miwaki Hiro
right.
Rou Asari Yuku performance.
Yeah. And
it was so like, I have the full video and it's just like, it was so magical. I loved it so much.
I want to see that after this.
Also, it's on YouTube. I don't know. It's like on my random ass Andromeda YouTube. But
I'll drop the link.
Yeah. Please. It's really baby queen. Like she was barely had a corset. But I'd always been on stage. I've been dancing since I was 8 years old. So being on stage was like something natural to me. But then coming out in drag felt really good. And I realized it's because also I had friends who have always encouraged me. Like all of my mental struggles, and I was saying like self-critique has been me since the beginning. Like even the first time I did that like busted ass drag, like my friends were like, you look so beautiful. That was amazing. Oh my God, girl. And like I remember when I was talking to my best friend wanting to like that, I was like, oh, I'm applying for RuPaul's Drag Race in Canada and stuff. He's like, girl, there's no reason I'm not going to pick you. Like I've always had people who are like, yeah, you can do it, you know, and it's only been me who's kind of like the self-doubt. But I think, even though it was very scary, having people who support you is super important, who can see the not potential, I don't know if I like that, but more like who can see the wings that you have even before they've manifested. They're like, that person is gonna fly. And I'm not saying I'm flying right now. I think I'm still struggling and trying to work and make things happen.
No, you're glowing and thriving.
I'm trying. It's hard. It is hard, but it's nice to have people who give you wings. Even if maybe you don't see them yourself. Because I think then you're like, okay, well then I have the courage to go and perform and go out and stuff. And I think sometimes people surround themselves with the opposite. And I'm very quick to turn those people away from my life, which is different from critique. I think your friends should definitely critique you and be like, you know, you could like...
Feedback.
Yeah, feedback is important. I'm not saying they should just be like a brainless loop or something, but...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I can talk another hour with you, but it's time, and thank you so much for your vulnerability, your openness, your sharing like your unique stories.
I need to hear more about your story next time. You should come on whatever podcast we do.
Let's do that. Is there anything that you want to PR? Like where to find you?
Definitely my TikTok, Luna.Andromeda.jp. Instagram is the same. And if you have time also, because I think this is Japanese audience mostly.
Yes, I'm going to repeat that in Japanese. So, Luna を見つける方法は、もっと知りたい方は TikTok と Instagram @luna.andromeda.jp スペリングは luna.andromedo.jp ですね。
Yes. で、and if you have time, 皆さんもし私だけじゃなくてそのもっと違和感のポッドキャストみたいならもうどこにもポッドキャスト配信されてるならばそこにも配信されている。で、そのポッドキャスト番組は私ともう一人があおちゃんとジェレミーがそのジェンダーについてとジェンダーじゃない時もあるけど大体ジェンダーについての議論をするなんか番組で、恋愛メディアなんかいろんなテーマで幅広く、自分たちのその女性としてゲイとしてトランジェンダーとして持っていく視点で議論していく感じだから、もうすごいぜひぜひ見ていただけたら嬉しいです。
それはあれだよね。もっとびっくりマークもっと違和感だよね。
ポッドキャストの名前はもっと違和感。
あ、そうか、ごめん。もっと違和感。
And then、うちの団体名はもっと違和感。
Okay.
Like もともとのもと。
そうだね。違和感っていうね、マガジンをやってたからだよね。
だから、formerly known as 違和感っていう名前にはしたから。
Perfect. I'm gonna drop the link as well.
ぜひぜひ。Thank you for having me so much.
Thank you so much for this time. So great catching up with you.
嬉しかった。
ありがとうね。じゃあ次の動画で。バイバイ。